So guys, we just now finished up with CVC, and during CVC, I was working pretty heavily on getting a lot of arena medals so I could go ahead and finish out my Great Hall, which I didn't actually realize it was so close to being maxed, but I have 2 more upgrades left. So I have Magic Affinity, Defense, and Force Affinity, Defense to finish up, and then I am completely done with my Great Hall, meaning that gold medals become useless. I have absolutely 0 use for them. There are some players out there with way too many gold medals with nothing to do with, right? Hopefully Plarium adds a way to spin those, but I kind of know why they don't have a way, because it takes so long to finish the Great Hall. Not many players have it whatsoever. I'm actually curious. Let me know down below if your Great Hall is finished. I did some math, and it takes a long time to actually finish this. So a little backstory. This account, I started on 6/26 of 2020. So you can see down here the calendar, it is 6/23 of 2022. So easy math says that it's about 2 years. Now, this account is not free to play. I've spent quite a bit of money on the account. I've bought quite a bit of mini mix packs, but on the flip side, I wasn't very efficient as far as making sure I did my arena refreshes as soon as it refreshed, as soon as my tokens refreshed, used every single arena refill, so on and so forth. So the time it's taken me is not going to be very, I guess, indicative of, hey, if you spend this much money, this is how long it's going to take. You could definitely accomplish this in a similar amount of time without spending any money if you were 100% max efficiency, okay? We're going to go over those numbers, and then after that, I want to jump in and talk about the Great Hall a little bit, because when I first started playing Raid about 3 years ago, this account was actually an account that I switched to about a year into my Raid journey. But when I first started playing, accuracy was the way to go, okay? There was really no other option. Accuracy was just so important. But since then, there's been a lot of changes to the game where I'm going to go over that in just a minute. But first, let's go over the math on some of this, okay? So 1 gold medal equals 4 bronze bars, 1 gold equals 2 silver. So all the math that I'm going to be doing in this video is going to be based off the assumption that you're in gold 4 or gold 5. Now, right now, pretty reasonable, pretty easy to farm in those 2 different areas. But if you're in a part of the game where it's pretty bad as far as the arena, which the arena definitely ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it's really difficult. So if you're in one of those difficult phases, it's going to take you quite a bit longer. Also, you're going to have to factor in that until you get to gold 4, till you get to gold 5, you're going to be farming in bronze 1, 2, 3, 4, and then silver 1, 2, 3, 4 until you finally get to gold. So that's extra time right there that needs to be added on to this amount of time. So whatever I say in the time, it's going to likely take you several days, maybe even months longer than the estimates I've given. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to do all the math based off of, hey, you're farming, you're just dropped into gold 4, dropped into gold 5, and this is what you're farming. So you're earning 4 gold bars or gold medals per victory, okay? And you're going to be regenerating 39 tokens per day. You're going to get 1 from the refills on the daily playtime. You're going to get your 24 a day because you get 1 per hour. You're going to be peak efficiency. You're going to get your 5 from quest, and you're never going to stop using those, okay? So obviously, if you're somebody who does miss out on some of those, like an average human being, then yeah, it's going to take even longer, right? So the math here, let's go ahead and break it down. So 4,275 gold medals is what it takes to get any bonus in your Great Hall from level 1 to level 10. Take that number, multiply it by 24, and you get this insanely high number of 102,600. You can see right here, 4275 times 24, which is the number of Great Hall bonuses you have to upgrade. So this is how many tokens you're going to have to get to fully max your Great Hall. Now, with anything inside of Raid, when you start diving into the numbers, it seems crazy, okay? Like if you do the math on how many runs it takes to get a speed upgrade, if your champion's already like 380 or 390 from Dragon, oh my gosh, those numbers are even more terrifying. But this number right here is pretty heavy, especially if you're somebody on level 47 of your Great Hall, like my free-to-play account is, okay? So just keep in mind, this is definitely something over the long haul, definitely a marathon, not a sprint whatsoever. So how many days is that going to take? If you did all your stuff right, you had a 100% win rate, so you're going to get 156 gold medals per day. It's going to take you 658 days, or 1 year, 292 days. But you can already see from my comparison, it didn't take me this long, okay? It took me quite a bit longer than 1 year, 292 days. And remember, I've spent quite a bit of money. I've bought a lot of the double value mini mix packs, which whenever they're double value, especially at $24, we'll just say from here, it's gonna be 16 arena refills, okay? That's pretty significant when you consider each day, you're only getting, let's just say 40 gold or tokens for the arena, and then you're gonna buy 16. You're basically getting 4 days worth of arena refills from one purchase, okay? So if you're spending money, obviously it could be a lot quicker. Let's assume you're not peak efficiency, okay? You don't win every single match. You don't spend every single token appropriately. Let's just say you had a 90% win rate. That 90% win rate down from 100% win rate is going to make you take 728 days or 1 year, 363 days. Let's go ahead and call it 2 years. And if you look at my numbers comparing this, my numbers are pretty on point, okay? 6/26 of 2020 is when this account was started, and 6/23 of 2022 is when I have only one more Great Hall bonus to do after I upgrade this one. So 1,000 more gold medals. Basically, if I need 1,000 more gold medals, which unfortunately I'm gonna have 12 silver and 18 bronze that I'm never gonna be able to get rid of. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So if I have 1,000 more medals I need to get, actually it's 998. We'll just call it, actually, let's do 998. 998 divided by 4, it's going to take me 250. We'll go ahead and round it up. 250 wins, I guess, divided by 10 per token refill. It's going to take me 25 more refills to go ahead and finish out my Great Hall. This is something I could definitely do right now. If I times this by 40, that's going to be 1,000 more gems. So I technically could go ahead and spend down all of my gems, spend hours and hours inside the arena, and finish all this out. But there's no reason to do it, right? It's kind of a waste. Like I mentioned, it's a marathon and not a sprint. So it's definitely something that you need to take your time on, be efficient with, but there's no real reason to rush it. So now let's talk about where my opinion has kind of changed since the beginning of the game on how you should invest your gold medals. So let me open this up real quick, and here we go. So first thing I want to say is the section that I would not touch is this section over here. So attack, HP, and defense, except for the mission that Plarium says, hey, go ahead and make bad decisions. Go ahead and invest level 1 of attack and magic, spirit, and force. I don't know why they encourage that. I don't know why they say to do that. There's really no reason to do that. But all of these I would not invest in. But wait, I wouldn't invest in them past maybe 1 or 2 levels, okay? Just a few levels. So you'll see on my free-to-play account, I have 2 on some of them. Level 1, perfectly fine. I mean, it takes 38 gold medals, okay? So it's a pretty insignificant amount of gold medals. What is it? 38 divided by 4. If you're doing gold 4, 38 divided by 4 is going to be 9.5. Okay, so about 10, basically an arena refill, you can get one of these upgrades. It's pretty nice, okay? But much past that, the amount of benefits you're getting isn't that significant. You're going to get a lot more from your glyphs even. You're going to get a lot more from your upgrades, your main stats, so on and so forth. It's just not the best investment in my opinion. So outside the first few upgrades, like level 1, level 2, maybe level 3 before you get into the silver medals, maybe could be justified, but to be honest, level 1 and level 2, past that, it starts to get a little bit expensive. So I would not invest in this whatsoever. Now, as far as the next stuff, okay, so this stuff over here is what's left, okay? We have crit damage, resistance, and accuracy. Accuracy used to be the area that I was like, okay, you have to go here because so many champions need this. Not only do they need this, but there's kind of a soft cap on a lot of different areas. So if you're doing dungeons, okay, whatever stage you're doing, multiply that stage number by 10. So if you're doing stage 10, multiply by 10, it's going to be 100, okay? You're going to need 100 accuracy about to apply your debuffs to whatever waves or boss you're going against. Technically, the waves, I think, have a little bit less resistance. We're just going to go ahead and call it, hey, you need 10 times the stage number. So if you're doing stage 200, you're going to need 200 accuracy. Back then, when I first started playing, we didn't have Perception Set. Perception Set is an incredible, incredible set, probably one of the best sets in the game as far as being an accuracy set and a speed set, a lesser version of a speed set, but still giving you some extra speed, which your debuff champions definitely need. So 2 of these sets is literally a max level Great Hall benefit, okay? So 80 accuracy is going to be really, really good and get you through a lot of the game, okay? Very easy set to get. Literally just do your faction wars. You're going to have quite a bit of perception sets and be able to achieve those pretty high accuracy numbers. Now, on the flip side, if you have a champion like Coldheart, you're having a hard time getting the crit rate, you're having a hard time getting the crit damage, the speed, the HP to survive, all that kind of stuff, then definitely start throwing some gold medals into accuracy void for whatever champion you need. A lot of this stuff isn't a hard and fast, hey, you should throw your gold medals here. To be honest, on my free-to-play account, I don't do that. So I save up my gold medals. I save it until the point I'm ready. Okay, now I want to invest into my Coldheart. I want to make my Coldheart stronger. So what do I need to make my Coldheart stronger? Just for an example. Well, right now she's struggling to get accuracy. So I'm having to pull other pieces of gear that could maybe be crit rate, crit damage, or something else. I'm having to pull those over into accuracy, making her weaker, but she's able to apply her debuff, which is the most important part of her kit. On her A3 ability, I want to make sure she does that full turn meter decrease. So now I'm having to change that gear. Well, it's the perfect time to go ahead and invest into accuracy, which you can see over my free-to-play account. I've done exactly that. I have some investments into accuracy, 9 out of 10, but I have 2 champions who benefit highly from accuracy, but also need gearing in other areas, okay? Your Carl, I want him to have good crit rate, I want him to have good speed, very demanding champion. So going some accuracy and void definitely makes a lot of sense. Same thing with Coldheart. Now, if you had a champion maybe like Rector Draft, okay? Maybe you don't need to invest in Force Affinity accuracy because Rector Draft is kind of easy to build, right? You just need good speed, good HP, good defense, throw in some accuracy. You don't need crit damage, you don't need crit rate, none of that. She's a pretty easy champion to build. So a lot of the Great Hall stuff is going to be based on your account. But when I'm talking about the accuracy is a lot easier to get now that Perception Set is actually in the game. Now resist is the next thing. Resist and accuracy have 2 big things in common. They are both kind of soft capped depending on what areas of the game you're in. If you're in dungeons, you're not really ever going to need more than 300 resistance, maybe 320. Accuracy, you're never really going to need more than 200. So for dungeon content, 200 accuracy, 300, 320 resistance, you're going to be perfectly fine. Past that, you're not getting any extra benefit, okay? Now, if you start jumping into Doom Tower, Hydra, Arena, there's really no cap. You can go very, very high with that and still make perfect sense. But those other areas, those main PvE areas of the game, there are caps. Once you go past that, there's no extra use. So resistance may not be as obviously beneficial as accuracy, but resistance definitely does have some uses depending on what you're trying to go for. But you're going to need quite a bit more resistance than the enemies you're going against have accuracy to actually resist their abilities. Now, crit damage is a very unique one. Now, it's unique, but I'm not necessarily saying that you should 100% go crit damage. But crit damage doesn't have a cap, okay? So you could have 200% crit damage, great, right? But if you had 300% crit damage, it's even better. If you had 400% crit damage, even better. You're never going to have too much crit damage. So crit damage is a stat that's very, very nice in the Great Hall. Very, very good. But if you're having champions you're struggling with getting their required accuracy for, their required whatever stat it may be, and you're having to take off the crit damage stuff so they can wear accuracy gear instead, maybe it's a better idea to invest in the accuracy stuff so you can go ahead and get that extra points of accuracy so then you can start gearing for crit damage. So there's a lot of ways you can go about doing your Great Hall. Honestly, there's no one size fits all. I wouldn't ever take any recommendations and say, hey, this is what you should invest in. Void crit damage is the absolute best because most Void nukers are going to be the best nukers in the game. So you should invest in Void crit damage to make your damage dealers do more damage. That's terrible advice, okay? Do not take that. While for some accounts, that may be the perfect advice, may be absolutely amazing. Other accounts are going to have no Void nukers. It's going to be basically useless advice for them. So basically my advice, I guess, all in all, without just saying, hey, make your own decisions, is basically going to be don't invest in the far left-hand side, okay? So don't invest in this stuff over here. Unless you have a super good reasons to do this, I don't see any reason why to do this, okay? I just think the glyphs, I think the main stats of or bottom row pieces, the top row pieces substats are just gonna be way more valuable, okay? So ignore all this stuff over here, except for maybe the first few levels. This stuff over here. Gear this stuff and invest in this stuff in the Great Hall, depending on your champions that you need to use in different areas of the game. Invest in whatever spot it is. Me, it was Void Affinity. Void Affinity accuracy was a very easy decision because I had Coldheart, I had your Carl, I had good Void champions who needed accuracy and highly benefit from having stuff outside of accuracy. Only needed about 200 accuracy. Past that, they're going to be perfectly fine. So my goal was to go ahead and get accuracy fully maxed out so I could open up their gearing potential. Now, when I first started, my first initial investments on my free-to-play account was in crit damage because I didn't have a necklace yet for my shield guard. My shield guard was my campaign farmer, so investing in spirit crit damage made sense to me. Maybe if you invest in magic crit damage for your Kale or for your nuker, maybe that makes sense for you. But then again, maybe you haven't gotten very lucky with your perception gear, so maybe accuracy makes the most sense for you. Accuracy is going to be a safe bet. Crit damage is always going to be a safe bet. Resistance is a safe bet, but you may not see as much benefit initially if you don't really understand how resistance works. Accuracy, you're most likely going to see a benefit. Crit damage, you're most likely going to see a benefit. All these over here, not going to be very significant for a long time. Resistance, you're going to see good benefit. You're going to need it, but until you really need it, you may not even notice it. For example, if you're trying to build solo champions for different areas of the game, like if you're trying to solo spiders, if you're trying to solo dragon or ice golem, whatever it may be, you're definitely going to feel the lack of resistance from your Great Hall if you don't have it invested in. Because right here, my Crypt King Grawl, I need at least 300 resistance to do that solo content of whatever it may be. Okay, say spider. I need that baseline resistance to make sure I'm resisting the spider, make sure I'm getting 100% consistency. And if I didn't have the plus 80 from the Great Hall, I would have much lower resistance. I'd have to take that from these other stats, and it'd make him a lower quality champion overall. But until you get later in the game, I don't think resistance is as widely beneficial as something compared to accuracy and crit damage. Accuracy, while it's still very easy to get, is probably going to be the biggest, most significant impact to your champions until you get good perception gear. So basically, while accuracy may not be my most recommended choice, or not as heavily recommended choice as it used to be, it's still a pretty highly recommended choice. And then a close second, or maybe even first, depending very heavily on your champions, crit damage. Okay. Now, with all this said, all this still comes down to your account. Same thing with gear cleansing. It's all an account to account basis. Invest your medals, invest all this stuff based on what you want to progress in. If you have a decreased attack champion for clan boss, maybe it's Jareg, you're having a hard time getting his accuracy where it needs to be, go ahead and invest in some magic. Now, I wouldn't fully invest into one affinity just because you have one champion you want to use. I would keep in mind, hey, if I need good accuracy on Armagerd, but I also want good accuracy on maybe Sandlash Survivor, for example, or another Spirit affinity champion, maybe now's a good time to start investing in Spirit. You don't have to work down your Great Hall medals instantly, okay? As soon as you get them, you don't have to spend them. Definitely save them up between CVC, wait till CVC maybe, and then decide, okay, now I've been struggling on Spider, I'm having a hard time reducing the turn meter, maybe I should invest in Armagerd. He's a very stat heavy champion. He requires you to have good crit rate, good speed, good accuracy, potentially good crit damage, good survivability, very stat heavy champion. Definitely justifiable to invest some accuracy into him. So guys, I hope this helps somebody. Guys, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will catch you all in the next one.